Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event podcast. We are your hosts, AJ
and Shane.
This is episode 39, being recorded on 4/20, 2022. Happy 4/20 to those who celebrate. This will air this Friday, April 22nd, which is the first day of 2022 that the Brooklyn FI office will be closed for a day of rest after a long and hard tax season where our staff works very hard and around the clock. So we're all going to take some time off, reset, recharge, do some drugs, read some books, chill out.
Who's doing drugs? Who's got the drugs?
I don't know. What else is 4/20?
4/20 is Brooklyn FI's birthday. So today is our birthday. Happy birthday to us.
Brooklyn FI.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. It was just yesterday that we were blessed by the state of New York to be a registered investment advisor. And now we are registered with the SEC. So we've gone national. Good for us. Happy birthday.
It is also the day after my personal birthday, for the listeners that are wondering why I sound awesome this morning.
Happy birthday to a slightly hungover Shane as well.
Tax day is April 18th. My birthday is April 19th. And then our birthday is April 20th. It's always a hectic time of the year for your boy.
It's a hectic beginning to spring, isn't it?
I like to think of myself as a phoenix, just a little, dusty, a little dirty. But when I'm cracking out of that egg, I'll be hot boy summer all summer, baby. Here we go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, happy birthday to us. It's our fourth birthday, correct?
It's our fourth birthday. Yeah.
On the occasion of our fourth birthday.
What have you learned in the past what's the number one thing you've learned in the past 4 years? Sorry to put you on the spot.
I was going to say something really problematic.
You can say pass.
Yeah, I was going to say something like you can't trust women. Something.
Oh boy.
Just something, fun. You put me on the spot like that, that's what you get.
I know. I'm sorry. I get your gut reaction to entertain the room.
Yeah, you get cocktail party Shane. That's not. Yeah. Actual question or actual most important, is it what the most important thing I've learned over the past 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Most important thing.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, well, I have it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you hire smart people with autonomy and you just give them the tools that they need to get a job done, you can trust them to work flexible hours and have integrity. But it's hard to find those right people. But when you've got them, it's amazing magic that can happen. It's like it's just like sports. Like teamwork we're all way more than the sum of our parts, and it's really tough to get that chemistry to work. But this tax season, I think it largely worked, and it was the smoothest tax season we've ever had. And despite the kicking and screaming and hemming and hawing of clients, it's a really tough industry. Deadlines are impossible, and it's human nature is. I mean, deadlines are necessary because human nature is procrastinatory and doesn't understand what goes into difficult, complex things such as taxes always. So, we had a great season because we trusted really smart people. We hired the right people and give them autonomy, and you give them the tools as an employer, and you give them flexibility to get it done. They'll get it done. That's what I've learned this year.
Beautiful. Well said. What
do you got?
That you can't be everything to everyone, that you can't be all things to all people. I think we've learned that over the past 4 years. Also to our team members, we can't be managers and teachers and trainers and friends and all those things. And also to clients, I think Brooklyn FI has come a long way. In the beginning, we were trying to be all things to all people. Then we figured out that we were really good at one very specific thing, which is equity compensation, and we are now the best solution, I believe. If you have complicated equity compensation, we are the best solution for you. And if you own 16 rental properties and you got a bunch of complicated, other stuff related to real estate, we're not the best firm for you. So I think that the biggest lesson I've learned was to be able to say, no, we're not a good fit for you, even though you seem like a great client who I would love to work with, I'm going to send you somewhere else.
Setting boundaries. Yeah. That's a huge thing. Boundaries is really hard work, but it's better for everyone when there's really good boundaries there. I'm with you there. One of our clients slid into my DMs over the weekend. That's just for work stuff, but personal Instagram. I'm like, this isn't healthy already. Another client texted me over the weekend to ask for an extension and just immediately got blocked. It's like, boundaries are tough.
Yeah.
But necessary.
Yeah. Especially as a business owner in the beginning, we were pounding the pavement. Sure. We'll be at the WeWork till 10 o'clock at night, handling your issue. We'll meet with you on Sunday because you're too busy to meet during the week. We have since stopped doing that, which I think is actually better for everybody in the long run. I don't think we would have been able to hire the amazing people that we have if we continue to keep up those hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a theme of like in your youth, whether it's as an individual or as a business, is saying yes is very important, and you should be saying yes to many things. And then you figure out what you want to say yes to, and learning how to say no is a difficult lesson that you need to. Saying no is a skill that takes decades to master.
Indeed. Speaking of skills that take decades to master, we have a deep dive this week on an IPO filing.
Good, great transition there, AJ.
We have Steinway Musical Instruments Holdings, makers of very expensive and some would say the world's best pianos for concert pianists and what do you call them? If you're really good at something,
virtuosos.
Not a protege. Virtuoso. There we go. That's the word. So Steinway Musical Instruments, this is not a new company. This is not a startup. Steinway was founded in 1853. So we have a 167-year-old company going public or has filed to go public. And this is not their first public offering because they were previously public. But then in 2013, they were actually taken private, which is a transaction where someone says, hey, I don't want this company on the public markets anymore. I'm going to offer a certain amount of money per share. I'm going to take this company private. I'm going to buy it. This is a theme that we will talk about a little bit later in the episode as well. But yeah, Steinway is filed to go public. We will be watching them. Obviously things have changed. Their market share, I think, has expanded more than they thought they would. They've been seeing an increase in global demand, especially from China. A lot of money in China, a lot of money being made. So they thought, hey, we need some cash. We need to take this thing a little bit bigger. Maybe they need some injections there to bring the brand onto a much wider global scale. So we will be watching Steinway Musical Instruments Holdings in how they perform at their IPO, which should happen in the next couple of weeks.
Right on. Love a late bloomer like this. I guess they're not a late bloomer. They were already public for a while.
No, they were public. Yeah. But it's always interesting when you see, and we see that all the time, right? We see firms jumping back and forth when you're like, wait a second, that company's not public already? And then you read the press release and it's, oh, well, they were public. Someone took them private and now they're ready to come back and show everyone their dirty laundry, which is what we see on their S1.
I love when companies have been around since the 1800s. It makes America feel kind of old. Like even like the giant, like what happened to like the Vanderbilt company? Like where are the Vanderbilt? Like is that company listed now? Like is it SCNF? Like is that one of those? I mean, have you been in the Vanderbilt mansion? It's like one of the. Like, where's Carnegie? Like, where are those companies?
Where are the Gilded Age companies?
Yes. Why are they not still around? What happens to them? For those of you experiencing IPOs, a lot of them oil.
They're oil, right? It's now Texaco and BP. Like that's all that stuff. Anyway, next week on the pod, what are the what's the step up in basis for the current Vanderbilt heirs on Texaco oil stock?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm going to hang out with a DuPont tonight, actually.
We have a client who's got some inherited DuPont stock that we've all been scratching our heads for years to try to figure out the basis of that stock because it was gifted and moved around and the stock split and became a different company. Anyway, that's fun. Love hanging out with heirs and heiresses. I need more heirs and heiresses in my life.
I would like to have one. The the hardest thing about gifted stock, it's even harder than inherited
You
stock.
are so tired.
Sure. All right, let's do articles. We won't talk about gifted stock.
All right. Speaking of gifted stock, man, I don't have a good segue. Speaking of being tired, what is a
second chance?
What is a classic beverage that you can always rely on the price?
Arizona iced tea.
That is correct, Mr. Shane Mason. You are looking at the same spreadsheet I'm looking at right now. Arizona iced tea, delicious tall boy can of sweet, juicy, caffeinated beverage, still costs 99 cents. Inflation is soaring. Aluminum prices are going up. Sugar prices are going up. Whatever else the hell they put in Arizona iced tea, all the prices are going up. Arizona iced tea still costs 99 cents. I love stories like this, as you know. It's an LA Times article. Arizona iced tea is still owned by the founder and his two sons, which was surprising to me. You would think that a beverage company as ubiquitous as Arizona would be owned by, one of the huge beverage conglomerates like Pepsi or Coca-Cola. But so cool.
Yeah, this is one of those companies that like you see around. You go down the grocery store aisle and you see all the drinks are available, or the gas station or whatever, and there's just like dozens and dozens and dozens of different choices for you. And I just always assumed everything's owned by Coca-Cola or Pepsi or
Same.
Nestle or whatever. Yep. But I guess this is one of the holdouts, and they're still family owned. They've been around, and they do like $1 billion in revenue every year. Is that what it was?
It's huge. Yeah.
And so like their personal net worth is supposedly like they have a 4x multiple, so they're worth $4 billion, which puts them in the top 1,000 richest people on earth. So they're the owner is like this old Brooklyn blue collar guy that's like, I'm not raising prices. Like I don't care. Like I'm already. If you're one of the 1,000th richest people on a $7 billion planet, like you can take a lick here and there is essentially what he says in this article, which is
and he's like, I'm gonna survive. I've survived other shit. I'm gonna survive this. Yeah, it's a great business story. Speaking of great business stories or not great business stories, I'm not really good on the segues today. I apologize, listeners. You got this article on Airbnb cleaning fees. Why do they cost so much?
Yeah.
Why do damn fees cost so much?
Yeah. Well, any millennial has either been looking at Airbnbs over the past 2 years in longing, or is probably booking some for this summer if they're getting out after COVID, post-COVID Airbnbs. So it's just funny that the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about cleaning fees. And like you read the whole article, it's probably like a 10-minute read. And all the gist of the article is it sucks when you click on an Airbnb and it says the cleaning fees are separately listed. It's like the whole article is about that. It's like, yeah, we know, Wall Street Journal. Yeah, it's like a clickbait. It's like, it sucks. And there's a great tweet about some guys like Airbnb remains impossible. And he's like trying to book like a $500 Airbnb and the cleaning fee is like $750. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, Airbnb fees, it depends on obviously the place. But, the host can set them. But nothing is worse than Ticketmaster fees. Like Airbnb cleaning fees, I'm like, all right, fine. I'm bringing 6 people to your house and I'm staying there for a week and you want to charge me $400 to clean the place? That sounds fair. Maybe there's a bit of a premium. But Ticketmaster, your ticket is $100. By the time you check out, your price has tripled. It's insane. It makes me so angry.
Nothing makes me want to be an arsonist more than a Ticketmaster fee. I saw the Live Nation building here in LA the other day, and I was like, I want to commit a crime over here.
Spit on it.
Yeah. But the other funny thing about cleaning fees in the article is something that you do, which is clean the entire house before and then pay the cleaning fee and then leave. Like if I'm paying the cleaning fee personally, like I'm walking out of that bitch like it's a hotel room. But a lot of my friends are like, no, we got to take the trash out. We have to do all the dishes. We have to rearrange, like take the sheets off the bed. I'm like, guys.
Yeah, because it's someone's property and they're want to have a quick turnover. So they've got a guest coming in at 3. Like, I disagree with you. I think it's courteous to clean. I'm not scrubbing the toilets, but if there's instructions that ask me to take the sheets off the bed. I have paid a cleaning
fee to have the house clean. If they're professional,
right. I'm not dying on this hill.
99% of Airbnbs
you do you.
are
I will do me.
Professional Airbnbs at this point. If I'm at someone's like, we're going to Mexico for a month, so please stay at our house, and like they don't have a professional, like sure. But in that case, they also don't have someone coming immediately. I don't know. All right.
Anyways.
Well, someone please call in or email us and give us your thoughts on the cleaning fees. We're going to do a poll. Do you actually clean the house even though you paid a cleaning fee because you're terrified of your social credit score or whatever?
It's not my social credit score. It's just because I'm a nice person.
Oh my God.
And if it was my house, I would, I don't know. Anyways, cleaning people are people too. Anyways.
I always imagine them showing up to the place that you've just cleaned and they're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. And they just leave and keep the money. Like there's like nothing to do. They wipe the counters down. I don't know. All right. We don't agree on everything, dear listener.
We do not. All right. You pick the next one and give me a fantastic segue.
This is your article about I don't even understand why you put this in here. This is about the old lady, the Bank of England. I don't even know what this is.
This is not an article. I just thought this was funny that
speaking of old ladies,
yeah,
being codgers.
Yeah, the British call the Bank of England old lady. So we call ours the Fed, which is such an American macho thing to do, and the British are it's a slang for you will see Financial Times articles that will just refer to old lady, and that just means Bank of England. I just thought that was funny. No article, no point whatsoever. I just wanted to highlight it for our listeners who are probably listening to this podcast to learn things about the way the world of money and finance works.
Yeah,
the way the world of money and finance works.
Yeah, there you go.
If we're talking about old lady.
Yeah.
Speaking of the world of finance, you've got something in here about Australian finfluencers are no more. They're getting cracked down on. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, anyone on TikTok has seen somebody giving advice on how to money advice, right? Like this is how you create an S corporation and put your car in it and reduce your taxes and so much trash. It drives me nuts because then I have to tell our clients all of that stuff is not real, or if it is real, it doesn't apply to you because you're not a hyper specific thing. And apparently Australia does not fuck around when it comes to regulation of their markets. It's really awesome how fee only they are focused there and how well managed their 401k system is, the superannuation. Essentially they have social security that can be invested in the market, which is dope. It'll keeps it's going to grow a lot better. It's probably going to have a lot less funding issue because imagine if our social security trust fund was able to benefit from the corporate shares of corporate profits in America, the most wealth creating thing ever created, the American corporation. Fortunately, we have to just dump money in there as part of wages. Anyway, so Australia is really great about their financial regulation and their markets there. And there was a bunch of TikTok influencers, not just talking about investing or even just talking about how to save money, which I feel is the coolest thing. Here's tips on how to budget and all that, but actually recommending investments and having links to products that you could buy.
Ooh, yeah, I can't
and
do
they
that.
would get commissions on them. So essentially their financial advisors in Australia is nah, these people have quit their jobs to be full-time finfluencers. Yeah. So now they have to get licensed. If you want to give financial product recommendations, you got to get licensed. And there's all this boohooing and hemming and hawing. And I wonder if they're smart enough to get licensed. I don't know how hard. I don't know. I guess that's a stigma that if you're an influencer, you're not smart. That can't be true. That's not true.
No,
I've attached that stigma. I made that up. But I wonder how many of them will convert to a licensed advisor.
I don't know. We shall see, I suppose. I mean, I think that, the harmful financial advice as tidbits or TikToks of information, I just sound like an old lady there. It's really harmful, especially for us as advisors, because clients come in with that bias of, well, why aren't you doing this strategy for me? Why aren't you recommending this? You don't know what you're talking about because I heard this from somebody else. And they presented it in a really, and a credit to the finfluencers, a really easy to understand, entertaining way. It's like infotainment. It's cool. Yeah, that they're going to do a much better job than me sitting on a webinar explaining how the AMT credit works. That's boring AF. But maybe I should become a finfluencer.
You've always wanted to be a finfluencer, AJ.
It's true. I have.
Maybe this year is the year. I think you'd be great at it.
This is the year.
The only reason if you weren't a great finfluencer is because you actually know the rules. So you have to like provide all these caveats, and I can't see you being like, this is how you create a loan out corporation, and I'm like, write that off, girl, and like just. But really,
I would
keep
not
the
be
receipts.
that type of.
Here's how you should use
But
Receipt
really,
Bank.
you will mostly get audited.
Yeah, you're gonna need to download this app that tracks your
You're
whereabouts.
gonna get audited. Oh boy.
Speaking of old ladies.
That's just the transition.
Wait. Speaking of royalty and young women, speaking of royalty and finance, we have Mako, the Princess of Japan, who we've spoken
former
about.
Princess
I'm
of
sorry,
Japan,
I
who
didn't mean
swore
to use
off her
dead title
to marry her true love and college or high school sweetheart and move to America.
We have a reverse Meghan Markle situation here.
Yes, a reverse Meghan Markle situation.
All the royals are moving to America to like live on the west, like live in the West Village.
Yeah, this Princess Mako, or former Princess Mako, who is now she has a last name now because she married this guy. She's interning. She's a fine arts intern. She's interning at a museum in the curation department.
Hot take,
just like all the girls that I went to college with.
For sure, the DuPonts. My hot take on this is that AOC's boyfriend is the version of this. AOC is our American royalty, and he's the boy that got lucky and bagged royalty. Also, who's Bezos' ex-wife is married to the sixth grade teacher.
Mackenzie, a school teacher.
Yeah. Another American royalty is political and billionaire.
Love it.
That's my take. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Mako's.
Speaking of billionaires.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Elon's Twitter stuff. You want to talk about this? Where we're at with this? This is an older article. This thing is moving very fast, right? His hostile takeover of Twitter, which I find very interesting. First of all, why do you think he's doing this? What's your take on why he wants to buy Twitter?
My take on everything Elon Musk does is that he thinks he's the smartest person in the world, which he might be, and that he thinks that he has a vision of the future and he wants it enacted as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that is to garner as much attention and respect and drama and news articles written about you, is my take. So
But you think you think it's an insincere effort to hostile
I don't think it's
takeover
insincere at all. I think he wants to be in people's minds all the time, and he wants to be seen as a leader and a thinker and a futurist who, is going to solve the world's problems in his vision, which I don't agree with all of it. I agree with some of his ideas. So I think that this is all of his actions are basically just like, how can I get the most attention? How can I reach this new group of people who will see me as the person that they trust with their future as the world changes very quickly. The world is going to change. It's every decade like feels longer and longer because the world is such a different place year over year. We had like the 60s and the 70s. Now we have like 2018 was a very different world than the world in 2022, drastically because of technology. And I think Elon Musk is going to have a big part to play in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't listening, but my take on it is that he. No, I think
you're such a dick.
I love it. My take, sincerely though, is that Twitter, like he saw what happened with Trump, and he doesn't want it to happen to him, and he thinks that Twitter is very durable in terms of getting messages out and communicating. Like you can have Twitter on a flip phone, and he can speak to billions of people and will always be able to say what he wants. He wants to always be able to say what he wants to say and not get kicked off. I guess $50 billion is pretty damn expensive for that, right? I think the Washington Post that Bezos purchased, not even $1 billion for, I don't know what that deal was, but probably not even close to 50 billion. And like in the Washington Post, you can't, there's journalistic integrity getting in the way of just steamrolling people or influencing things. I'm sure influencing happens, but if he owns Twitter, he can't get kicked off and he'll be fine. I think it's interesting that there's all these other companies bandwagoning it. This platform is cheap, so Apollo Global and all these other investment firms that manage hundreds of billions of dollars. It's also funny that they have to get involved because Elon is cash poor, all of his wealth.
Right.
Like he's worth $250 billion. But it's not like, I find this very funny is that people, you and I had a conversation with a friend at one point recently where they were like, people think that if you're worth $250 billion, that you just have $250 billion in a checking account that you can just do whatever you want with. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you own shares in a company.
Elon would have to give up control of SpaceX and Tesla to then have control of Twitter to actually make the if he had to come up with the cash himself, right? He would have to sell his shares in these companies, which he is not allowed to do in the quantities that we're talking about. Like, the markets are regulated where you can't just make massive stock sales like that. So it would actually be impossible. He does need help. And that's kind of what all the articles that I read about this were. He can't do this on his own. Here are the people who are going to come in and help him out.
Man, what a fun meeting to be like a 32-year-old investment banker, and you're like sitting with Elon and your partner, and Elon's laying out his tactics
his
for
master
buying,
plan.
Like, yeah. And
I know you weren't listening to me, but we basically said the same thing, which is that he just wants to make a lot of noise and he doesn't want to lose the attention of the world.
No.
And every move is a calculation towards that.
No, of course I was listening, but I think he's like, his companies are probably running on their own at this point, and he's the president of them, and he's just trying to do new stuff. Like, he has access to all this capital, and I don't think he has to like be in all the engineering meetings anymore. So that leads to him doing silly stuff, like having the time to tweet insane things. And
what are you going to do when we are able to step away a little bit more from Brooklyn FI? What is the insane, silly stuff you're going to do in here?
You won't hear from me if I have a liquidity event. I will be on a sailboat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
All right.
Or maybe not. No, I don't know what it would be, but who knows?
Speaking of Twitter, I just wanted to read my favorite tweet of tax season.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Accountants are hilarious, guys. # tax Twitter. Highly recommend a follow. And this is accountants being snarky with their clients, which we're just so exhausted and overworked and like sick of things by the time April rolls around that we do get snarky. And all we want from our clients is for them to provide their documents. So this tweet from Simon Phillips, CPA, was my new favorite response to what tax documents do you need? Everything you got in the mail that said important tax documents, and everything in your email that said the same thing. Obviously, I would never say that to a client, but it is kind of true. It's like, what do you need from me? It's like, what do you think we need from you? The things that report the tax things that happened, which would be your income or sales of stock or interest earned or anything else or anything that you bought for your business. End of story. Tax season. Yeah. IRS is on the struggle bus, continues to be on the struggle bus. New York Times threw up an article on tax day that the Internal Revenue Service started this tax season buried in a backlog of more than 20 million tax returns from prior years. We've talked about that endlessly on this podcast. The IRS is trying. They've been holding job fairs. They're trying to hire 10,000 people by the end of this year, but they need money to do that. And they need Congress to throw them a bone. The Biden administration has called for more money, has called for IRS funding, but it should be no surprise that Republicans have staunchly opposed providing the IRS with any more funding.
I don't understand that. I guess small government. Yeah. Okay. That's like Republican 101. But I don't know how many times I've said on the podcast, every dollar you give to the IRS, you get $6 back because they crack down on tax cheats. Like, it's a win-win, everybody. We have less people cheating, more money in the treasury to drive down the deficit or to fund healthcare. I don't know. Yeah. That's depressing. If I was president, AJ, the first thing...
Oh boy, here we go. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. I have this like long article that I want to talk about next week because it's actually great and I want to
stress laxation.
Stress laxation.
Okay. And the metaverse.
I'm going to save that
metaverse stuff.
I'm going to save those.
Okay.
Because I don't want to talk about them with you. I want to talk about them with John, who will be guest hosting with me next week.
These are so fun, though.
Goodbye, Shane.
I'm going to be in Mexico City.
Thanks for listening to the Liquidity Event. You've been an excellent audience, even though I can't see you. This has been episode 39. You can find us at brooklynfi.com/episode 39. Leave us a review. That would be cool. See you next week.
Aloha.